Hi, thank you all for joining us for another FactFo interview. I am joined today by Jay McGregor, and it is my privilege to introduce her to you all. As you know, death is universal, and it's something that we cannot escape. I am constantly amazed by the different services that are out there for everybody to enjoy, and Jay is no different. Her service is quite unique, and I just had to reach out and ask her if she would join us for a quick interview. So Jay, can you introduce yourself and let us know what it is that you do, please?
Of course, thank you for having me. So my name is Jay McGregor and I'm the founder of Graceful Graves, which has started off as a grave cleaning and maintenance service to help take care of your loved ones.
Okay, wow. So where did that idea come from?
So I founded Graceful Graves in March 2020 when my dad sadly passed away. Because I found myself always cleaning and tidying his grave. It kind of became a place that I felt a little bit of peace, a little bit of connection, and could kind of get that privacy. And then I started to do the rest of my family members as they're all conveniently buried in the same place. And I was there so much that people started asking me, like, is this what you do? Like, they would see me cleaning about 10 graves at once, and they were like, wow, like this must be your job, you must work here. And when I said no, they were all amazed and all were asking me if I'd help them take care of their loved ones too. And that's when I started kind of researching, is this a thing? Is this possible? And I couldn't find a business that was young, that was Black, that was modern and exciting. And it wasn't your stereotypical brand ethos either. So I thought, if I can't find one, I'm going to make one myself.
Yeah.
I won a small business grant, and I then thought, wow, I actually have to make this a reality now. Like, someone else believes in my mad idea. And that's when Graceful Graves was born.
Beautiful. And that's just it. We look around for the services that we need and they're not always there, or they are there but they're not done for us, by us, or they are done but in a way that we know that we can do better.
Precisely.
Yeah. And so I think in that sense, some businesses or some services are just yours, like that landed on your lap and you weren't even looking for it, but it's come to you.
Not at all. I had no plans on starting a business, let alone a grave cleaning one. I'm a presenter, I work in TV and radio. This is so far from my daily career, my daily life, but it's really a passion project that has turned to not just helping me, but helping others, helping our community too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw that you have on your website the comment from somebody who moved. So it's not even the fact that, the people who live there have to sort of remain. You can still move and know that your loved one is being cared for as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's what Graceful Graves is all about, because there's so many reasons that people find it hard to visit graves, whether it's due to, the pain of, grief and death and it just being a bit too much, whether you've got like a big family and it's hard to be able to live that normal family life, especially if a grave is located far away. People move for work and for business opportunities, and you feel a guilt because you looked after that person when they were alive, maybe, and it's like now they've passed, you would kind of like to do the same, but there's no education on this. There's no kind of rite of passage after you kind of have that funeral or cremation of things that you can do next for your loved ones into their next life.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I was just thinking as well about the elderly. There are some elderly ones that are just not able to do the bending and the washing down of the grave and all that kind of stuff. So your service it's necessary. It's so necessary. I was also, when you were speaking, I was thinking about this video that I saw once. An American guy was saying that often when people move from one location to the other, they will actually exhume the body and take it with them. This is something that we don't have. Like we don't really do things like that over here. And so it's just heartwarming to know that loved ones are still being cared for.
And definitely.
Like
a lot of cemeteries here are overfull and are crowded, unfortunately, and they're having to do reburials and things like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot of competition when it comes to buying a funeral plot, especially when people don't think about death until it's pretty much staring them in the face.
Yeah.
So to be able to still move and be able to take life's different chapters on, but not feeling like you're leaving your loved one behind, is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you learned a lot about the whole sort of death industry since doing this work?
Oh, I have learned so much. And because it came from my own personal grief, I really just learned that grief is weird.
Yeah.
It comes in many different faces. It can make you laugh and cry. And the industry itself, it's quite stereotypical in its morbidness. It's hard to find parts of brightness when you don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So for me, Graceful Graves is trying to change that. If you look at our website, it's bright, it's full of color,
Yeah.
because grief is not one color. It's not your stereotypical, yellows and purples and kind of those colors that you usually see with traditional kind of funeral websites, for example. So that's where Graceful Graves was trying to add something fun. We've gone viral on TikTok for our videos of us cleaning the graves, as people love just to watch them. They find it satisfying. And they
Oh,
also love to hear about the little stories of the people who might be buried here as
oh,
well. So we're trying to incorporate a lot of storytelling just to do things differently, and also give you that space to be a part of something new.
yeah, beautiful. I just, wow, I'm actually in awe of you. And it is so true what you're saying. On your website, you've got like loads of colors, and you say death is different for everyone. It so is. And the same is with grief. It's so unpredictable. But we are seldom told or educated in advance on how to cope with these situations. This is phenomena. This happens. We can't escape it, but we don't talk about it in advance. And so when it happens, it's like, what's going on? Even if we knew that the person, our loved one, was dying, and we're anticipating it, we still can't imagine what it would be like without them in our lives. And so it does still come as a shock for us.
It does. And I hope that people like me and people that have businesses in the death and the grave sector can help people with that, because I've learned to look at my own death, and I'm only 24, and I'm thinking about what I would like when I pass away. I'm thinking about the things that I need to put in place to
Yeah,
do that, to make it not so much of a burden on my own loved ones.
yeah,
And I want to make sure that my grave is cleaned and maintained, and that, no matter what my family or my friends may be doing, it doesn't feel like they are tied to me. But if they know there's a special occasion coming up and they want to come down, they want to celebrate me a couple of days before, hopefully a grave guardian would have been, so they
yeah,
don't have to spend that time cleaning. They can spend that time enjoying.
yeah. Okay, so you would call yourself a grave guardian?
Yes, I like to think of us and of gradient of guardians of the grave, should I say.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so if somebody wanted to be a grave guardian, could they come to you for training?
Yes, definitely. We're always looking to grow the team with people
Okay.
that just genuinely care, people that want to do something nice. And
Yeah,
of course, like, also get training qualifications in cleaning, and just, helping their local communities as well, because cemeteries are such beautiful places. And I
they
didn't
are.
see the beauty of it until I was in that lockdown period, and I was there on these beautiful hot days, just chilling on my dad's grave. I brought my dongle and I was working from home from there. And I thought, all these parks are full up of people, but I'm in a place right now that everyone else thinks is a bit morbid and a bit sad at times, but it's beautiful to look at. And I
It-
think more people would go to their local cemeteries and just hang out if they could go and see beautiful graves and they were maintained, and it's not like a Halloween aesthetic going on. Do you know what
yes,
I mean?
yeah. I completely get you, because one of my favorite places is the graveyard. I could just walk around or just be at peace in a cemetery all day. It's just, you could be in a different world. It's just so, the energy is different, and it's just peace. It's just peace.
And they're beautiful. I've seen
They
some
are.
amazing graves, some mausoleums, some
Yeah.
tombs, and some beautiful woodwork crosses. Like, it takes a lot of effort and design and energy to go into it. So I'd love them to be appreciated and loved a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay. So where do you normally advertise your services?
So usually we are advertised on social media.
Right.
A lot of our work comes through word of mouth,
Okay.
and we've also developed some great relationships with the cemeteries, as they see us quite often in our little
Yeah.
jackets. So they will often recommend us to people that ask for them, because this isn't actually a service that cemeteries and graveyards can provide. They're not actually allowed to touch the graves. They are allowed to fix things like lighting fixtures, but they're
Right.
not allowed to actually interfere with the grave. It's down to the person that has the certificate of purchase for it, and down to usually like the family member that has helped organize it. They can just cut the grass and mend the trees and do things that are general aesthetics on the space. So
Yeah.
you'll have a lot of these graves where they are in need of care, and if they're not a danger to the cemetery,
Yeah.
they're just unfortunately left due to whatever circumstances there may be.
Right. Okay. That is interesting. See, this is the kind of education that we need, and also as well, I think that when graves are left, let's say, unkempt for whatever reason, it can cause conflict as well when other people do come to the grave and see that it is unkempt. So I just think that your service is amazing. And you provide packages as well, don't you?
Yes, we do. So we understand that not all graves are unkept, and there's some people that just need a little bit of extra support. As I said, it
Yeah.
could be due to travel, location, age, whatever it is. So we do different packages. Like a one-off is our lavender package, and that's for ideal like little graves and headstones that are smaller in size that just need a little bit of love.
Yeah.
We have a violet package, which is a deeper clean for a little bit bigger size in headstone. They need a bit more deeper care because they haven't had any attention in that way in a while.
Yeah.
And then we offer a willow package, which is a subscription. So that works quarterly. So you could pick 4 different times of year that you would like us to come. And that's one of our popular packages, because you could do birthday, you could do anniversary of passing, you could do a Mother's Day, a Father's Day, and then you could do a Christmas.
Right.
So it all depends on your calendar. Like a lot of families like mine and those in the Black community like to come down on those special days, gather, bring packed lunches and food, some
Yes.
music, and just have a vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you know that, as in advance as you come, there are some nice new flowers there, the grave is nice and clean for you to visit, you can just spend that time knowing ahead that the grave has been cared for and kept up.
Perfect. Wow. You go up and up in my estimation. I'm just like, I'm blown away. Earlier you mentioned as well about the stories. I think the story of people's lives are so important, and the grave side is it's like a holder, isn't it, of the story of these people's lives. And so many of our lives go to the grave without ever being told. So do you ever know about the person? Do you ever sort of find out from the family a little bit about the person that has passed away?
I like to, but also I don't pressure it. So it's whatever the family are comfortable with sharing. But sometimes we've had war veterans that
Right.
have passed away even before I was born, and it's kind of gone down in generations to their great grandchildren who
Right.
have visited and would like some care. And also it's just ordinary people that are living their everyday lives. We have, bookmakers, you have florists, you have teachers. Like everybody kind of has a story and a journey.
Yeah.
Some of the older African Caribbeans came over during the Windrush, and from slavery times, and telling their stories.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to explore if the families are comfortable with sharing.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. You are in such a unique position, and your service is unique, but it is so necessary, it's so vital and important. And I really hope that you can grow this service within the community and wider communities as well. I
That is
wish
the
you
goal.
the
Thank you.
best. Yeah, completely. If we want to get hold of you, how would we do so?
So you can reach out on email to info@gracefulgraves.co.uk. You can fill out the contact form on our website. You can call us. Our phone number is on there. You can drop us a DM if you're on social media. And yeah, if it's word of mouth, we understand that not everyone is proficient with technology.
Yeah.
So please give us a call, even if it's just for a chat and you're unsure
Mhm.
and you just want to find out a little bit more. We're happy to talk, because talking is the first step.
Brilliant. Okay. And where are you based?
So we're currently covering London only, but we're looking to go nationwide and worldwide as we deliver and grow. I've got people telling me that they've got graves in St. Lucia for me to clean. So we've got to get there eventually.
Yeah, it's a must. It's a must. And there's no reason why you can't go global. The interesting thing about, death is that there are no barriers. There's no discrimination. It's going to come to us all at some point, and we all have to deal with it. And what I am finding is that a lot of our rituals and traditions from yesteryear may have been lost, may be waiting to be rediscovered. And so it's so true what you say about times of the year where people actually want to go back to the grave. I know around Easter, my friend was saying that she'd gone to visit her parents and it was well busy, so
yeah,
there are perhaps more times during the year that we can think about our loved ones and actually visit them and employ your services beforehand so that there are no surprises, let's say. But it's been really lovely speaking to you. I know that you said that you've got quite a few loved ones all located in the same cemetery. Have the passings been close together, or have they been quite spaced out?
The passings unfortunately have been quite close together. There was one year and it was like every year we had a death in the family.
Right.
And it was only really, I'd say 2019 that we had a pause, and then it was my dad in 2020, so we've kind of only had 1 year's peace within the family, but we all kind of tend to be buried in the same places. And it's nice because once we do go and visit, you could do like a little world tour across the cemetery from the start to the end, and just see everyone at one time.
Okay, so would you say then that Graceful Graves has helped you with your grief?
I say it definitely has, because I hated the cemetery. I hated the graveyard because I felt like it was a constant reminder of the people that I'd lost. And because I lost at such a young age, when it all first started with my family, going back to my grandmother's passing in 2008, when I was about 11, I believe, I'd always associate the cemetery as this place that, my dad always wants to come here and see his parents, but I don't want to go over here. Like, it's sad. But it's completely changed my perspective now that I can understand the beauty and I can understand grief a bit more. I'm still definitely going through it, and I'm still working on myself a lot because it's still really close to home for me. But the business has been able to keep me grounded in that way and just give me something to look forward to. And just the thought of helping others also helps myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Hearing the stories of others and working with others as they go through their grief, your service can only help lift the spirits of people who are mourning, and so wow, thank you so much for the service that you provide. And just by being inspired, there are so many different ways that we can look at the passing of a loved one, and you have turned it around and made it into something quite beautiful. And
thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to find words. It's not often that I'm without words, but we can look at it as a grim time. And I do believe that, we're in the UK. I do believe that a lot of European thoughts about dying, death and grief have kind of been foisted upon us. And it is quite morbid and it is quite somber, and we are, quiet and dark. And, I think that at our essence, actually, we are to celebrate it and see it as a leveling up, or some kind of, they've lived, look what they've done in their lifetime. This is an accomplishment, and I think that the celebration aspect of it is what we really do need to be concentrating on. So I like as well the fact that you mentioned that at the beginning, that, celebrate the life. And let's do that by keeping them in our lives as well, by maintaining their graves and just being with them and being at peace when we're around them. I could speak about this for ever, but I'm going to stop there.
No, you're right. It's all about celebrating. A lot of our traditions are seen as parties, are seen as nights, are seen as real big traditions and values that are passed down. And if you took someone that was not within our community or had no knowledge of it, they would be confused as they turned up. Why is everybody, you know, smiling and cheering? Why is there all this music playing? It's not a traditional European wake or time or experience. It's completely different.
Yeah.
So that kind of celebration is like, how can you keep that going past, you know, anniversaries and those special dates and things like that, just by doing something small that can help tremendously in the long run.
Yeah, I agree. They've gone physically, but you know, it doesn't mean that we can't still continue those bonds that we share with them. So
it is, because it's like, once they pass away, like, what's next? No one tells you like that what's next part. There's no instructions to that. You get a lot of support from your celebrants and from your cemeteries and crematoriums and funeral directors.
Yeah.
But then after that, their kind of job is brought to a close unless you have kind of a long-standing relationship. So it's kind of, what is that next leap? And I'm hoping to be there to pass from one hand to the next hand. Right, they've taken you this far, we're here to take you the next step of the way.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. So speaking as a funeral celebrant, what I may do in future is, as funerals come through to me in the London area, just recommend that they upkeep the grave, or that the grave is kept up by yourselves at Graceful Graves, so that the two go hand in hand, so that it's a natural progression from one service
Wicked.
to another. You know,
that'd be amazing. And then I can also pass my customers back to you for when they're thinking, you know, of their time, because my demographic are from old to young. So as I said, they're people that are younger that are now thinking about their passing. So building a relationship with a celebrant from early can help make that period a lot less scarier, and, you know, something that in mind, so when that day does come and I'm organizing for the future, I know exactly who I'd want. Just the same way that you'd organize a wedding and you'd like to know, you know, your pastor and who's going to be doing the service.
Yeah,
we can also do that the other end.
That's it. I agree with you. You know, this is how I got into the service in the first place. My aunt was passing away and I was able to stay at the hospital with her at Guy's overnight. And I realized, hold on, there's nobody really that's catering to our emotional, social, spiritual needs, practical needs. The physical is dealt with. Well, the physical, is dealt with, you know, but what about the rest? What about the education? What about the support? Where is that flow? Often the flow isn't there. So it's quite disjointed. When we go to the hospital, we may have doctors and professionals talking to us in languages that we don't understand. Our mind isn't there because we've just been told that our loved one isn't going to make it. What does that mean? So we're still trying to compute. So that was where I come in, you know, at the end of life stage. When it came to the funeral service, I got fed up of seeing our funerals conducted by people who do not look like us. And I thought to myself, but I can do this. I can do this. And what is stopping me from doing this? And so, you know, it was a natural progression. And then from there, the grief therapy. It's all necessary. And we are so underrepresented within this field. It's so necessary that if there are people out there who are looking for other ways that they can become entrepreneurial, you know, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. You're doing so much with your life, and yet you have found time to create this as a project. So thank you.
Wow, your story is inspirational. You're exactly who I'm trying to aspire to be, to step in and to see that change and to fill that gap. So just know that what you're doing, and even bringing me on here, I'm so grateful.
Oh, thank you, Jay. Let's keep in touch. And would you come back again in a few months or, you know, coming weeks to have another chat?
Yes, of course I would. Of course I would. Let's definitely keep in touch. Thank you so much.
So one last time, your contact details, how do we find you?
So if you Google Graceful Graves, you will find us coming up in your search bar. You can fill in our contact form or email us, or if you're not too savvy on that side of things, you can give us a call. Our phone number is at the bottom of the page and at the top. So please give us a call or contact us. DM us on social media as well. We'll be happy to help across Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
Okay, brilliant. And I would implore all of our viewers to as well just spread the story, spread the news, spread the idea of having somebody maintain the graves for you if you or your loved ones are unable to do so. And if you would like this service for yourself, when that time comes, write it down, plan in advance. Okay, it's all good. It really is all good and positive. So once again, thank you. And this is another FactFo interview for FactFo TV. I am Laura D. Pusey, the founder of FactFo, and I'll be joining you soon with another interview. Thank you.